friends, welcome back to another video. So today I thought it would be fun to show you how I like to prepare my art journals once again. So I have shared this a while back. I think it's been almost 2 years since I shared how I like to transform a really simple, cheap composition notebook into an art journal. I spent a lot of time teaching online classes. That's what I do for a living, and I just launched my newest one, which is dedicated to birds. And whenever I get prepared to start filming, editing, creating a class, I always sit down and prepare my art journal for the process. While not all of my classes are about art journaling, a lot of them are, and an art journal is my favorite place, both as an artist and a teacher, for me to kind of keep my practice, the things that I experiment on, the tutorials that I create and work through, and really a place where I can just play and get my ideas out. So a big part of my own process over here, not only as an artist personally, but also professionally, being an art teacher and sharing a lot of different ways that you can get creative. I find that an art journal really helps me kind of get my ideas out and give me a place to store all those ideas. So I thought it'd be fun today to show you how I went into the preparation for this particular bird journal, which was used for filming my newest class. And I thought it'd be fun to show you all how I like to prep the pages in my cheap notebook, and then spent a lot of time creating a fun, kind of whimsical cover. Again, I have shared a couple times on my channel how I like to prep my art journals. I'll put some links below in the description, just so y'all can go revisit those if you want a more extensive process. In the meantime, I'm going to jump into prepping my pages, showing how I created this cover, and then if you are interested in creating bird-themed art, exploring birds in a variety of different ways, from drawing to abstraction, watercolor painting, I have a brand new 30-day class where we have one lesson a day for 30 days to really get you practicing and playing with the subject matter of birds. Since all my classes are self-paced, you can join anytime. Since class launched this week, I thought it would be fun to share that with you all, just in case you're wanting to dive into all things birds.
So I like to use just a cheap composition notebook. Yes, one that you would often use for class or in school. You can find these for about $1 at a lot of different stores. And I will go into that cheap notebook paper and really cover up all that white space with either watercolors, acrylic paint, or even collage. Now again, I have more extensive videos on this process, but when I create my own, especially for teaching, I like creating pages that I know I'm going to be comfortable drawing over the top of, painting, even covering up with mixed media. And so I tend to pick colors and materials to add to those pages, depending on the type of class that I'm teaching and the different tutorials that I will be filming. I also really enjoy kind of working within color themes depending on the tutorials that I will be sharing. My goal is always just to get some kind of color down on my surfaces. My longtime students and followers will know that I'm not a big fan of a white space. When I sit down to create, I like really working over the top of a colorful background, often messy and expressive. And my art journal is really the place that I'm able to do this for myself personally in my process, as well as for the classes that I teach. Since many of the things that I share are based in mixed media and really playing with lots of different supplies, my goal is really just to get some color down, and eventually these pages will get layered over the top of in a variety of different ways. And even though that paper is quite thin and cheap, once you add acrylic paint or even watercolors, it thickens things up and gives you the ability to create an art journal on a budget. Now you could certainly use higher quality notepads and journals, but I love sharing this process to as many people as I can, because I know a lot of people out there are working on a budget and don't have lots of money to splurge on expensive supplies. Now, I always like to create a cover, and this is my favorite part of the entire process, and one that I actually wanted to base this video around. Since this journal is going to be what I utilize for all the tutorials in my latest class called Wing Wonders, it is based just on creating different types of birds with different types of supplies. I already knew I wanted to create a really fun, colorful, whimsical cover over the top of my composition notebook. Personally, I tend to like to paint over the top of that composition notebook. I will use just a plain color, often black or white. Something to keep in mind is I almost always use matte acrylic paint when I'm working in an art journal, whether it's the cover or my internal pages, because it keeps that surface from sticking to anything, either each other with those pages or even the outside on that cover. And while I like to paint out my composition notebook cover and cover everything up and then work on it as if it's a blank surface, you could certainly use collage. You could work over the top of that with gesso and treat it like you would any type of mixed media or painting surface. Now, because this class is solely dedicated to birds, I wanted to add a bird to my cover and again create something that was colorful, whimsical, and a little bit painterly. And you can see that I gave myself just a pretty simple outline of my bird, and then I'm going to be working inside of that sketch and over the top of things with more of a painterly approach. I wanted to really pick a cover that complemented some of the things that I'm going to be teaching in this class, something that really kind of captured the theme of everything happening inside of this art journal. And even though we are exploring everything from watercolors to drawing to abstraction, I really love treating the surface and the cover of an art journal like I would any other creative surface. I really wanted to think of my cover as a place to create a little painting that, again, really resembled the things that I have happening inside. I have so many art journals on my bookshelf, and people often ask me, Alyssa, what in the world do you do with all of these? And my answer is that I keep them very organized and I hang on to all of them. I have bookshelves filled with libraries of my art journals. They are truly a little bit of my visual and creative history, not only in my personal art process, but also in many of the things that I teach. I have over like 150 online classes that I've created, and about half of these, at least half of them, are all based around working inside of an art journal. And it's really fun for me, not only as an artist and a teacher, to have like this very organized place that I can have a lot of my tutorials and my work that at any given point I can pull off the shelf and continue to work over the top of. Often I will photograph or scan some of my favorite surfaces and use them in a variety of digital projects. And I love having just this visual history that I can look back on. While I have a formal education in fine arts and I majored in painting, I spent a lot of time working in traditional ways with oils on canvas. And it's fun and creative, but I really feel like there is nothing quite as special as working inside of an art journal, really having a very organized place that you can keep a lot of your experimentations, your ideas, your playful moments. Often my art journals look very messy and imperfect. Sometimes they never see the light of day, and I will not show some of my pages or feel like I need to share them. They are really a diary and a place where I can work through the things that I am practicing, processing, or coming up with new ideas. And then in terms of teaching inside of an art journal, it's really fun to have one place for me to keep everything, especially when it is surrounding a theme or a specific subject matter. I teach a lot of classes that are based around a 30-day process. My philosophy is that it takes around 30 to 40 days to form a new habit, get comfortable with something new, or really dive into and explore something specific. And I have found in my own process, when I work this way, I love having some kind of a sketchbook, a notebook, or an art journal, because I can really focus on that theme that I am working on. And at the end of that time frame, at the end of all that practice, prompts, concepts, and techniques, I have this really great collection of work inside of that art journal that I can use as reference moving forward. I can take my favorite surfaces and try them out on canvas or paper, larger, smaller. It's just a really great way to work within a process that is confined and something that doesn't take up a lot of space. Often when you have loose surfaces, you end up with lots of work around your home or studio, and it's hard to know where to put these things. When we've got an art journal, notebook, sketchbook, whatever it is that you're using, you've got it all contained in one place that you can pull off the shelf, open up, and utilize in your own way that works with your process. So I'm actually going to let you watch me finish up this cover for my art journal and hopefully inspire you to perhaps look into creating your own art journaling process. Just a cheap notebook, a cheap notepad or sketchbook, and your favorite tools and materials is really all you need to get started. And then dedicating anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes each day within those pages is such a fun and important way to get creative, to experiment, to play, to even practice and explore the ideas that you have. An art journal is a really fun way to create space for you and anything that you are creatively wanting to work through. I'm hoping a little bit of this inspired you all, and I will see you again in my next video.